The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello, welcome to the weekly show. It's brought to you with Levi Solicitors. There's a 10% discount on your legal fees at levisolicitors.co.uk/the Square Ball. Three of us here this week then. Dan Moylan with you, with Michael Normanton and Rob Conlon as well. Before we get into it, because I watched both the original Top Gun and the new Top Gun over the weekend, I feel like we should have call signs. You know, like Maverick, Goose, Viper, Jester.
I've seen neither of these films.
Doesn't matter. You can still come up with a call sign, can't you? Because Rob's under 30, so he could be like Punk or something like, something right. Young and energetic. You ever think about yours? You like saving money, maybe like Thrifty or something like that.
Thrifty's nice.
I was thinking, because I'm tired, represent bad value for money, very slow. Thinking Rodrigo. There you go. Right, and TSB Plus, by the way, is our membership package where you can get the full shebang. We've got the season review stuff coming up this week on the Extra Ball, our bonus podcast for members as well. So we're going to go through the squad with a fine-tooth comb. And are we going to award some sort of point system, some sort of scoring, should we?
It'll be completely unfair, and we'll maybe... I remember years ago you said, what mark would you give something? And I just said 17 or something with no scale in it whatsoever. We'll maybe do similar.
Should we mark out of 17 then?
Can do, yeah.
Because we finished 17th.
That's true, yeah.
And obviously it'd piss off Chileno, so let's mark out 17.
Okay, we'll do it out of 17.
That's going to be on the Extra Ball this week. We're going to do the full squad, so check that out. Details at thesquareball.net/plus. So it's a shorter show over the summer, then we're just going to round up the Leeds United news. Not a great deal to go at this week, because it's been international week. Did you watch the internationals? We do have some World Cup attendees.
I watched the Wales game.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched Raphinha play for Brazil, but I was going to watch the England game and I saw the lineup and saw no Calvin. I thought, what's the point?
And you were absolutely correct in that judgment, because it was terrible.
This is what England do. I don't really understand why people bother with them outside of a tournament, because it's always terrible. It's always boring. It's always slow paced. Nobody looks like they can really be arsed. And yet when they come round again, everyone watches them and goes, God, that was boring. It's like, well, yeah, it's what they do.
Yeah, there's something about watching Dan James in a non-Leeds shirt as well. Just makes you think, he's a bit of a knobhead, isn't he? Where he charges around throwing himself about and fouling people.
Well, I'll say his opening salvo in that game was to shout the words "fuck off" into the face of the referee and get booked within 2 minutes.
He's being a son of a bitch on the pitch.
Which I thought, is that new fringe of his? He's got an attitude fringe.
Yeah, well, he's got at the World Cup though. That's good.
Dan James at the World Cup, yeah.
Tyler Roberts,
same group as England, same group as USA. So we'll have Tyler Roberts there potentially. Brenden Aaronson, Calvin. Depends how many of these players are still playing for us by the time the World Cup comes around. But
I think Tyro will be. I'm backing him to still be here.
That's just reminded me that the Wales's opening game of the Euros, me and some mates were sat in a beer garden. I got a little bit excited and bet on Tyler Roberts to finish as Golden Boot winner.
What odds was that?
They were decent odds, believe it or not. I can't remember what I got, but I think he only played like the last 10 minutes of the game they got knocked out.
Can you remember the odds?
I can't remember for life of me.
What, 20 to 1, 30 to 1?
It's going to be more than that. It's got to be 400s, 500s.
I think maybe only like 50s. I can't quite remember.
So for anybody who doesn't understand how betting works, if you put £10 on that, you would have lost £10.
Yeah, well, that's what happened.
Yeah. Exactly what happened, yeah. England, Wales and USA all in the same group. Feels like some sort of like crossing the streams in Ghostbusters type scenario. Should be fun anyway.
Were we pleased to see Wales qualify? I think I was.
Yeah.
We spent so much time in Wales, didn't we, the other week?
On the walk, yeah.
On the walk, all 3.5 miles that we did in Wales.
Antibiotics are finished now, which is great. My feet are nearly back to normal.
I feel a real connection with the place after that.
But good one at that. It'll be entertaining, even though we're all morally against the World Cup being in Qatar.
I've got very little enthusiasm for it, I have to say.
No, it's coming so soon after the Euros, it feels, as well.
Well, give it 3 months of marsh ball. You might be welcome any distraction come Christmas.
It's weird. We were just chatting before we came on, weren't we? Saying now we were end of the season, we were sort of desperate for a break.
Yeah.
And now it's come, we're just bored. It's just like...
Because last weekend we were still finishing up on the walk, weren't we? So this weekend that's just passed is the first one where we've had really nothing to do. And I know, because I've still been resting my feet while they've been getting better, leaving them elevated to get the swelling down. And I'm just thinking, I've got no purpose in life anymore. What do I do with myself?
I felt this big emotional lull. I think it's both the walk and the end of the season, because it was just so exhausting that season. I was thinking back to like December when there was it Palace where we beat in the last minute, and then Brentford where we drew in the last minute, and all that's sort of been forgotten by just the end of the season. But it was bloody exhausting. But now I've sort of getting back into the swing of things. I do need something to like gear me up now. So what's
it's like the old heroin, isn't it?
Who are we playing at the weekend?
The heroin, it's absolutely terrible for you, but it's very Moorish. So,
don't taste heroin.
No, bad. Watch Train Spotting. It's not good for you, is it? So yeah, Aaronson as well, our new toy. He played on Thursday against, it escapes me, but
Uruguay, was it?
No, that was the game after, wasn't it? Where he came off the bench at half time. That was against Uruguay, sort of buzzing around the place.
Was it Mexico? He scored against, didn't he?
Could have been, yeah. Whichever. I can see it, but I can't remember the team. But anyway, he was in sort of an advanced number 8 position, which I found interesting.
Is he good?
I think so, yeah. He's certainly very progressive, like in terms of picks up the ball and carries it, which I think is something we've desperately lacked in midfield this season, because if we haven't been able to pass round teams, it'd be nice if we had players.
Rodrigo, the way he picks it up, carries it, and then gets tackled. That's useful. That's good. Can you do that, but actually releasing the ball at some stage?
Well, Brenden Aaronson picks it up and runs past people.
Okay, that's also an option.
And he's got the sort of Dan James levels of energy, but not as sort of headless chicken here, I don't think.
It was Morocco they played, and they won 3-0, and he scored the opener.
Yes, it was after that really nice take. That was Pulisic, one who took it down, I think. Good takedown. Yeah, and our potential new shiny toy, Rasmus Kristensen. Have you gone through that emotional journey like a lot of Leeds fans do, where we get linked with somebody, we know it's almost done, you watch the YouTube highlights, and then suddenly you want him more than any player you've ever wanted in your life, regardless of how good he is?
I still want Tabanelli.
I'm weirdly more excited about this than Aaronson, I think, even though Aaronson's kind of the attacker and the golden boy that we've been after for a little while. I think the fact that we've been after him for a while sort of dimmed the excitement slightly, whereas this guy, I didn't hear about him until last week, and now I love him, and I'm really excited to see him. And I think like a swashbuckling right back who's massive and bald sounds good. I'm getting like, even though he's a left back, Carl Dickinson vibes, and that pleases me.
I thought of Carl Dickinson as well, weirdly enough, about him.
Sort of loosely psychopathic shaved head.
I hope he's better than Carl Dickinson.
Yeah.
I mean, Carl Dickinson was fine in League One.
Slightly different levels, isn't it?
Where we had it, but no, I like the look of him. He looks like a tank. I think if we're going to be more physical, which seems to be part of Jesse's style.
Aaronson notably stacked.
Well, yeah, that's true. But the waif like Ayling, get this beefcake in instead.
I feel sorry for Luke Ayling. I kind of don't want him to be pushed to the margins, but it's like we were saying last week, wasn't it? That it's almost got to kind of start happening now.
I was at a wedding on his Instagram. It looked like he was having a nice time.
I think
he'll be fine.
He's still got a role to play as well, whether it's on the pitch and off the pitch. But I think just seeing him when he does play, looking less haggard will be nice, because this season it looked like he was playing with the weight of the world on his shoulders at times, and then it ended as it did against Arsenal, which I think was a sign that he was frayed as much as any of the other players. So just him having some help as much as anything is a good idea, I think.
Now we've stared into the void for a week, do you feel a bit better about the season? Have you started to kind of revise your opinion of it at all? And like it was just a thing we had to go through and get out the other side, and now everything feels a little bit better?
Well, it certainly feels better to have not been relegated. I think that would have been that would have played on my mind a lot of the time, just thinking, oh God, all those extra games.
Yeah, Tuesday nights and
and they're waiting for don't the Championship games start even earlier than the Premier League games as well?
Back end of July, isn't
insanely early.
There's just no need for it, is there?
No.
There's just no need for that many games. I mean, I know I'm against teams going bust generally, but I think when teams go bust now, they should just let them and don't replace them in the league. Just make the league smaller, because I don't want to go back to that 24-team league. Awful business.
Do you feel better about it, Rob?
I feel, I guess now we're not involved in it, and like I say, I've had this lull. I kind of feel like it was a lot of fun in a way. Like there was a lot of just mad.
You're looking back on a failed relationship with your bloody misty eyes. Like, look, we had such a lovely time.
But I mean, like, it was mental, and that is kind of good. Like, I can't say I'm massively looking forward to being like a mid-table Premier League club. That kind of sounds a bit boring, and I think we'll get quite tired of it quite quickly. Whereas this season, yeah, it was crazy. There were so many moments that I think have been forgotten, which I think we're going to get into a bit later with the season review stuff. But even things like Rodrigo's penalty against Wolves, which was right at the start of the season, but it was a brilliant moment, and you came out of Ellen Road buzzing.
When I was looking through the season as a whole, in my head that was about 3 months from the end. Was that Wolves
It was
game.
all compacted into like a 12-week block, wasn't it?
But it was it was ages ago. It was about was it 8 games in or something daft?
Like, it would have been September, October time, wouldn't it?
It was really early in the season, but even then it felt edgy.
It's because we hadn't won. That's why.
Yeah,
we didn't win for ages, did we?
I mean, was that after we'd beaten Watford? I think I can't remember. It was early in the season anyway. But yeah, I think to have got out of it, a great escape was something I did have missing on my like football fan checklist. I know there was the time when Viduka scored at Arsenal, but that wasn't last game of the season, was it? There was still another week, and I think we were kind of we were probably likely to get out of that as I remember it. And maybe this is wrong, but to have something go to like the last minute of the season with it all still in the balance,
fun one, yeah, fun.
Yeah, exactly.
We've done it the other end when we went up from League One, and that was all stupidly tense on the last day. And but other than that, last day drama, not such a thing. So
you're right in what you say about the lack of attraction and being a mid-table Premier League side, but that's the next natural home for us, isn't it? If we're to not go through that again, and quite frankly, I'd rather have a fairly average year where we've got to 40 points by, I don't know, March or something like that, February preferably, and then we can just go, it's fine, we don't have to worry about it. I think we've definitely got one of those years in the bank.
Yeah, I think you're right that we do need everyone to just chill out for a year, and because I was miserable for the last 2 months of that season, but it was such a good release at the end, and there were lots of moments of that kind of release, like the Norwich game and Brighton as well towards the end. It was incredible at parts, but we really earned it, I feel. I can't really be asked with that for next season.
Does the sort of excitement and forward momentum now come from maybe off the field stuff when we start to see maybe plans for the ground? Because if we are to keep to the original timetable that Angus Kinnear spoke about last summer when we spoke to him, is that they'll push the button on the plans this time if we stay up. I think maybe is that where we find a bit of progression?
if they do. That's the thing. But it's just I'm worried they might have been spooked by last season. I imagined this last season to be a nice steady 13th place or something where they can go, no, do you know what, well established here, feet well and truly under the table. There is not a bother with dropping several £100 million on a new West Stand, whereas as it is, they might have gone, that was a little bit tight, was that? Maybe the old place isn't so bad after all. Maybe we could just leave it for another season. But I don't know, we'll see. All the talk, their plan has always been stay up 2 years and then do stuff like that. So they've got to do it now.
And I think there is a definite correlation, as we know, between what you can pay out in wages, and that is obviously tied to your revenue. And for revenue to go up, we need to improve it. Because I'm a bit like you in that I really want us to progress. I've wanted for years to see a new West Stand at Ellen Road, but equally I don't want them to touch a thing as well. It's kind of a weird, dilemma playing out in my mind.
It does.
Paradox.
It does desperately need doing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I was watching a YouTube video the other day of someone who's done all animations of fancy.
It's good, isn't it? That
fancy
one,
new stadiums that might be put up, and it did make me a bit excited. The Leeds rendering is quite boring because they've basically just done a replica of the East Stand, which I kind of hope we don't do.
Nah.
Do something a bit architecturally interesting.
Is it fine to say now that the East Stand is actually a bit shit?
Oh, it's dreadful looking. It always looked well. Actually, no. Do you know when it was built, it was quite impressive because it was massive. But the stuff Bates did to it.
I was going to say, since he shaved that top bit of that front bit of the top tier off, I've not really liked it since.
No, and from the outside, it's disgusting looking. Let's be honest. The cladding and the way they put the beige cladding on with the original grey and the blue, just an absolute shit show of a thing.
That's what you were saying as we got back off our walk, wasn't it? We got all the way to Ellen Road and you went, it looks bloody rubbish.
I'm delighted to see it, but it looks bloody rubbish.
Yeah. Get rid of the Bates stuff there. That's what I say.
Including him?
I think nature will do it eventually, but he's hanging on, isn't he?
He is hanging on. So back to the players then, and Rasmus Kristensen got waylaid there. Brentford apparently interested. He's Danish, so there's a natural link there, you might think. But is he going to want to go to like a League One club?
Probably not. No, he's going to want to be more ambitious, isn't he?
Well, he's at Dortmund. It looks like Dortmund were quite far down the line, according to what Phil Hayes written this morning in The Athletic doing his Q&A. So you got they're a good established club in Germany. Leeds, obviously, an established club in the Premier League.
I mean, he even said himself, I do not need to Google Leeds United to know about that club. It is a huge club, a traditional club. So,
Done deal then. Done deal. We're still after the youth as well.
George Hall and Sonny Perkins, do you mean?
Yep.
Sonny Perkins is a great name, so I hope we sign him. And he's also scored some good goals on YouTube. When
you factor in the West Ham links there, he sounds like a barrow boy, a scamp at a market, doesn't he? A cheeky young Cockney scamp.
Little Sonny Perkins, I feel like he's always going to be known as.
Who was the other lad? I listened to a podcast with him the other week. Sonny, the hyped up boy of the 90s. What was he called? He was like the next big thing. He trained with Ajax and he was on an advert and stuff.
Oh, right, yeah.
Sonny Pike, that was him. quite an interesting podcast actually to listen to what the weird world of a young footballer being dragged about doing promotional stuff when you've not really kicked a ball yet.
Are you old enough to remember when Scotty Parker did the kick-ups from the McDonald's advert?
Yes, I do remember Scott Parker.
He was wearing his Blardigan then, wasn't he? His blazer cardigan combo, I believe, if memory serves me right. Perkins, he does sound all right though. He's been a regular for West Ham's development squad, hasn't he? And he was the Premier League 2, which is the under-23s thing, Player of the Month for April this season. So he's an award winner already.
That's the main trophy, isn't it? That you aim for.
Ballon d'Or, and
of course our relegated under-23s.
Pathetic.
Disgraceful. I mean, we do need, if this season showed anything, we need more players in there because all of our good under-23 players ended up in the first team, so couldn't play for the under-23s at all this season.
I do suspect though maybe that we might see more of the under-23s playing in the under-23s this season. It does feel like there's going to be more separation between that squad and the first team.
Or potentially loaned out, I guess.
Yeah.
But I was surprised to see us linked with Perkins, and it sounds like there is movement being done, but because he was mentioned a lot by West Ham fans earlier this season, wanting to see more of him. So they clearly think highly of him, and I think he did come on in one of the games against Leeds. I don't know if it was the Premier League game or the Cup game down there. But yeah, he scored, I think it was 10 goals in 20 games for the under-23s. They finished second. I think in their games against Leeds, they tended to batter them by just looking like bigger boys. And yeah, we saw what happened when Leeds got relegated.
Remark on, what did we say you were called? Your call sign is Punk. He's come here armed with research. Have you seen that?
No, believe it or not.
Written down notes and prep. He'll never catch on.
I think I'm back off this walk. I feel like I need a purpose. I need to do something.
Right, West Ham's youth team. Possibly going out the door the other way. The Raphinha to Barcelona stuff, it's got to the point where I find this quite funny now. Like, Barcelona sort of desperately, they're almost like the drunk in the nightclub at 10 to 2, just trying to pick somebody up now. Please, somebody come on with us.
There seems to be a load of stuff coming out of him rejecting other teams as well because he only wants Barcelona, but it's all coming out from Barcelona stuff, which you think is all being. It's like a weird.
What we're seeing is we're getting a glimpse into Deco's WhatsApp account here, aren't we?
What I suppose what we're actually seeing is it's a bit like we did with Ben White, but without sort of taking the piss in the same way we did. Barcelona seemed to be like, no, well, you should just let him come for whatever. I know we can't really afford him, but you know.
Well, we could have registered Ben White at least if we'd have signed him, whereas Barcelona at the minute, they've signed 2 free transfers and can't actually register them to play because they're spending too much.
I always used to quite like what Barcelona stood for, the values of it all owned by the members.
Mesca Young Club.
Yeah, and they're fucked, aren't they? and it's hilarious, and I want to see them go under now.
I mean, they probably won't. They're probably one of those clubs that are just too big to have a problem. I mean, it seemed like it was happening this season and didn't finish second in the end. Actually did fine and signed loads of players anyway. So why didn't we get to do that and we were fucked?
But they're on about like refurbing the new camp, aren't they? That's all sort of underway because obviously Real Madrid have done theirs. So Barcelona will not allow it to be that stands still because they're going to put a roof on and I think reconfigure the upper tier, aren't they? And all the rest of it. So that's going to cost them another $1 billion or something mental that they don't have. So they'll borrow that, spend it on players.
Leave the new camp alone as well. It's a great stadium.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing much to it. I think they're just going to sort out the top tier and have it wrap around all the way and then put a roof on the lot. But, sounds like an expensive job. I mean, you've had your roof done, haven't you, before? So
no, I didn't actually. I had a man come and quote on the roof and it was £4,000, so I did it myself.
What did you do?
It was the one of the valleys. Thing is, the whole roof.
When you come and sell that house, honestly,
the whole roof needs replacing in a few years, and I'm accepting that, and I will pay for it doing. But
are you going to do it yourself?
I probably won't.
Get up there with some tarpaulin.
My laptop up there watching YouTube like that. That goes on there. But it was was one of the valleys, like where the roof kind of has a corner.
Right.
The lead had a crack, but it was during lockdown. I think he had loads of work, so he was just giving a daft price. But it was just a crack in that, and he wanted $4,000.
Gaffer tape it.
Well, some stuff called Acrypol, which is basically like a thick,
gluey
fiberglass, gluey paint. £60. Yeah. Up a ladder on the roof. Some of that on, absolutely fine.
And is your roof watertight?
It has been so far on that spot. Anyway, it's leaked somewhere else since. only when it was very stormy. So if anyone needs any roofing work doing over summer,
it's
very cheap.
He's got nothing else.
Still got half a can of Acrypol left. If anyone needs any,
will it be under £4,000 at your quote?
Yes. I'll do it for 2 danger money of £50. There you go.
Excellent. So they're said to be flying in to thrash out a deal at Barcelona, presumably coming on a budget airline because they're that skint.
Nah, they'll just stick it on the credit card like they do with everything else, won't they? I mean, he probably will end up there at some point, but how they actually afford it, I have no idea. And we seem to be pushing for all the money up front on it as well, which is probably a good idea if it's Barcelona, because you don't want to be, you don't have them owing your money particularly.
No.
I think they've basically got a long list of players that they want to sell, which means they can then sign players. But the problem with that is that they're waiting around for people, like they were last summer, to be stupid enough to buy someone like Junior Firpo. So, you know, if we need a striker and they've got Martin Braithwaite, who was crap at Middlesbrough but somehow ended up at Barcelona.
Did you enjoy Junior's wedding? He Instagrammed it, didn't he?
I didn't see any of this. I just saw some of the pictures.
Live streamed it. Good finish from the lad. Got the deal over the line, etc.
Yeah. Did you see some of this?
Yeah, it was mainly people commenting saying, is Raphinha staying, or ask Raphinha to stay. I did briefly start watching it and then quickly went off because I realised your username pops up at the bottom and I was too embarrassed that it came up saying Rob Conlon is now watching. But yeah, his wife's called Julia as well, so we've got Junior and Julia Firpo, which is nice.
Oh, that's quite sweet, isn't it?
Lewis Bate might be going out as well, apparently.
Yes.
That's one of the rumours.
To Rotherham, yeah.
To Rotherham.
God, poor lad. Did we really sell him that when we signed him from Chelsea?
I know, yeah, pathway to the first team. Oh, there's the M1. It's up to you, really, whichever way.
Can't we send him somewhere better than Rotherham?
They came up this year, didn't they? Probably.
Yeah.
They're always either getting relegated or going up, aren't they, from League One?
They make annoyingly easy work of League One, don't they?
Yeah, so it might not be a bad move for him. I know it's under Bielsa we've become accustomed to only getting rid of on loan people that we actually want rid of permanently. But it has worked for other teams as sending out loan players. And
there's Charlie Cresswell as well, who's been talking about potentially going out on loan. He was playing for the England under-21s, and to be fair, he has got to that stage, I think, where he's clearly too good for the 23s. He looks quite good playing for our first team. He needs to be a footballer at some point in his life, which, given we've got, I think, 4 senior centre-backs, it probably does make sense for him, I guess, to go out on loan if he's not going to get game time at Leeds.
I'm kind of scared what he'll return like this summer, because I feel like every summer he comes back bigger. He's going to be full Dolph Lundgren in sort of Rocky IV when he comes back.
It's absolutely true what you say about him as well. The way he carries himself, he's got the assurance of somebody who's middle-aged, that self-assurance. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, middle-aged man after 3 pints, that sort of swagger about him. Wandering about the pub going, all right, pal. Yeah, good to see you Wednesday. All right, lovely. Yeah, he's great. He's do we ever talk about his little country music bit when he did a bit of singing and said how he basically bullied Joffrey into saying country music was the best off a list of things.
Is that where there's a beautiful moment of Joffrey looking incredibly uninterested playing air guitar, just like that?
But yeah, he's great. He's Cresswell. I think he'd be an asset to someone, and he might do the old Ben White as well. So come back and then we'll sell him for £50 million a year after that. So that'd be nice.
And before we wrap this one up this week, then another thank you on the charity walk stuff, because phenomenal amount of money. It's nearly 75 grand, is it now we're at?
Yep, 74824. I just checked it before we started, and there is still an additional 2.5 grand to come from GoFundMe, they do some charity draw thing where
it's like a give back, isn't it?
Yeah, and we happen to win that, so there's an extra 2.5 grand going on Samaritans as well.
Excellent. So it's going to be pushing up for 77.5. That's not bad. That's not far off £80,000. If we can get it to 92, I mean, I know it tends to slow up now because we've finished the event, but we're working on some stuff, aren't we? Like to get some proper good giveaways.
Easy stuff is what we're working on.
Basically, we'll just raffle it all off. There'll be no long distance walking involved.
I'll do the roofing work. Do the roofing work, and I'll give all the money to charity, unless I need to make a life insurance claim, and then maybe you could put the money towards my funeral or something. But yeah, we've got some stuff to auction off, and so keep an eye out for that. Yeah, so we'll auction it, raffle it, something like that. But watch this space once we've got all that together, and because it'd be nice to get it up past 92,000, because we did the 92 miles, 1992, beautiful kind of. I was even considering walking to Everton the other day as a way of getting it over 92. Because there's been that awful come down, that lull that we were speaking about before we started recording, of that sense of purpose, having lost that, and you've been planning other walks again now. It's like my feet have barely healed, and you're already on OS Maps planning routes to Goodison Park. Yeah, I think are we vetoing Goodison because it's not a great walk, is it? It needs doing though. If we're going to do the full set, and also I'm thinking because if we can continue this into next summer, the Newcastle to Leeds walk would actually be quite nice. Yeah.
Straight down the A1.
And it's long. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah.
Just down the-
straight down the head shoulder. You used to drive that all the time, didn't you?
Yeah, I know every twist and turn of that motorway.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Some good services probably.
Yeah. What's the one in North Yorkshire that takes ages to get to?
Wetherby?
Leeming Bar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's about a 15-minute drive to get to the McDonald's.
But yeah, part of me is thinking, we'll get the Liverpool one out of the way, and then we can do the nice one next year. Maybe I'll do it by myself.
yeah. But thank you if you've donated, by the way, because we realised that that we did the physical work, but the cash handing over has been done by people who are listening and watching to this. So thanks so much if you've donated. Or just spread the word. We are fully aware that times are tough and not everyone's got money to spare at the minute. So if you spread the word, retweeted it, whatever, shared it on Facebook.
Thank you to Andy's Man Club for the free t-shirts. Yep. There we go. If you're watching the video, modelled beautifully. But the main thing to say is just, thank you. It's like blown us away, hasn't it? The response to it, the amount of money that's come in. Because we were optimistic about maybe 10 grand. Well, maybe on each. I thought we could get to 30. Yeah. And then I thought 50 would be good. Now 92. Come on. Never. Jake, what would Jake Humphrey say? Get out of the comfy chair, something like that. You got to keep walking. Keep walking, pushing on, never stop annoying people on Instagram. Absolutely that, yes. So that does wrap it up then for this week. The summer shows will continue. If and when stuff happens, we'll talk about it more. Yeah, if you want this to be more interesting, Leeds United, buy some people or build something. Yep. Do something like that. Well, we need to try and bully Angus Canarian to come in on again as well, don't we? If the roof of the East Stand is still leaking, Michael's here with his, what's it called? My Acropole, that's it. Charity live stream. Right, there we go. That wraps it up then for this week. Over on the Extra Ball, we're going to be doing the season review player by player, so check that one out, thesquareball.net/plus. In the meantime, we'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.
The Square Ball Podcast.